Alright, so remember those days in school with that heavy backpack, searching through the books, trying to find that one passage, having to write everything down? There has to be a better way, right?
Yes.
Well, there is. George Nelson said that because textbooks are the backbone of classroom instruction, we must demand improvements so our students can acquire knowledge and skills they will need for more advanced learning. And there is something better than a textbook. I posit that it's the tablet. Right? And I'm going to tell you a few of the ways why tablets should replace textbooks in schools. Right? First and foremost, textbooks are heavy. We've all had to carry a few of them around. I went to hypertext.com and they told me that the average science textbook is about 3.64 pounds. Right? If you count your daily load, 6 to 8 classes, that's 14.5 pounds you're lugging around all day long. Right? Your iPad, however, is light, airy. You can toss it around. Not quite so heavy. Right? Now, you've all had to buy a textbook. Most of you have taken classes in college. If not, you will soon. Textbooks cost a lot of money. Right? And if you've had to buy 1 or 2 textbooks per semester, imagine what the schools are spending per year on all the textbooks for all the students, high schools especially. Right? And the worst thing about textbooks is they don't change. Right? You've got that 1945 history book. It's got nothing to do with anything current. You can't learn anything new. So the school has to go back and buy another textbook in order to stay current. And that's even more money from the education system flushed down the toilet. Right? Which brings me to one of the great reasons why we switched to tablets in high schools and maybe even elementary schools. The overall cost is much less. This iPad costs about $300. That's 3 textbooks. Compared to about 36 that a student is required to go through high school. And if you carry it through elementary school as well, the cost savings alone is astounding. And why not incorporate that into a tuition if you've got parents that can afford $300 for a school, for the lifetime of their child's school. And it doesn't have to be Apple. There are cheaper tablets out there, but Apple's kind of universal these days. But one of the best things about this iPad is it's far lighter than this backpack that my daughter carries around every day. The rates of children having shoulder and back problems are increasing every year. And sure, kids need to be tough. They need to go out and play and beat each other up. But at the same time, why are we hurting each other when we don't have to? Right? Digital textbooks could not only be interactive, which would allow you to zoom in and look at pictures of the atoms in a better way. You could put multimedia in them. They could be full-fledged 3D, or rather digital interactive books. But at the same time, you could change them and update them more frequently, more annually. Right? You don't have to stop at 1987 in that history book. You can go on to 97, 2007, every year, which would push the teachers not only to keep their training current with the book, but also push them to have to update it so that the students are getting more current information. Right? And then on top of that, the students don't have to flip through the books anymore. They can Control F and search for that link, speed up their learning process, and keep them involved. Also, we can reduce the paper usage throughout the schools. Teachers don't have to go out and print 47 copies of the test. They can email it to their students. Students can do their homework online, email it back to the teachers. Response times, when a student has a problem at home, through their tablet, linked into the school, the teacher can be more readily available to help that student out. Right? But also, if we're talking about pushing this down all the way to the elementary level, students can get immersed. Children can get involved in the technology as early as possible. Right? We are losing the race of education around the world. We went from first to about sixth. And it's because our students are falling slower and slower behind. Children in other countries are getting this technology a lot younger and a lot quicker. Right? But really, this is just the start of what could happen if we were to come away from dusty old books to modern technology. I can't even begin to think, as quickly as technology changes, of what possibilities could come from advancements in technology. So we need to start getting our students involved in the trend instead of sticking behind in the mud. But my point really is that technology is constantly bringing us new and better ways to do things. The printing press was invented over 550 years ago. All right? Isn't it about time our children start to learn with technology that was invented after the slide rule?